In the Know, a radio program talking to the newsmakers in Ogle, Lee, DeKalb counties and beyond, keeping you in the know. Here's your host, Charles Van Horn.
Good morning, and joining us, Illinois Comptroller, your friend and mine, Susana Mendoza. Good morning.
Hi, how are you? Good morning.
Glad to talk to you again. So, right off the bat, what's new?
You're so funny. I don't know. You tell me.
So you announced this past week that you will not be seeking another term as comptroller, and you've talked quite a bit about your achievements and what you've done with the office. Now, you're going to finish out your term, right? And that goes until when?
It goes until January 27. And so, yes, I'm going to finish out my term strong. And I do just want to start by saying thank you so much to all of the voters in the state of Illinois who, year after year, I'll be going out when I finish. It'll be my 10th year serving you as your controller. Have given me their trust and faith. They put those both into me, hoping that I would do a good job for them, and I hope they're very proud of the work that I've been able to accomplish on their behalf. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really has been the greatest privilege of my life to serve in this capacity.
As someone who has put a mark on a calendar when my last day at a job would be, are you already going to be pilfering office supplies? Do you have your eyes on a stapler you might be walking out with? Or
You're hilarious. Nope, doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the people, yes.
And that has been one of the things you've been the entire time you've been office, has been being honest with taxpayers and trying to do the best you can with the money you're allotted. And this goes from paying the state's bills to talk a little bit about the recent moves you made with trying to get caught up on our pension deficits.
Well, yes, I think it's really important that any time we can have money in the actual pension system accruing compound interest, that is a win-win across the board. And so for some time I've been trying to get state law changed so that I could actually prepay pensions, and that would mean that instead of waiting until, like in the past, I could only pay pensions in 1/12 increments, which meant, for example, if I wanted to prepay November, I could only prepay it on November 1st. So it would work at max, let's say 30 days in any given month, or 31 days, depending on how many days are in a month. That's the most that it could, additional days that it could generate interest. But now, because of this change that we've championed and finally gotten done, this is the second year in a row where I now can pay pensions anytime I have additional revenues. So, for example, I just paid off in July, the November pension payment, which is about $878 million. But rather than wait until November to put that into the marketplace, we're putting it into it in July. So we get a compound interest for that money the whole month of July, August, September, and October, which will generate about $20 million in additional interest payments into the pension fund. So this is wonderful news. It's obviously not going to solve the pension issue, but it's certainly better to have $20 million more than less.
Yeah, that's because the liabilities are massive. Just rough back of the notepad guess, what is the total Illinois pension liabilities, give or take, right now?
It's about $144 billion. So, $20 million compared to that doesn't seem like a lot, but here's how I see it. Every single dollar matters, and we should never, ever think that, it's just $20 million. To me, $20 million is a ton of money, and the more $20 million increases we can have into our pension system, the better for the health of that pension. And, the best way to get yourself out of the hole is to start putting more money or start putting more stuff into that hole, not keep digging yourself into a deeper hole. So this is adding to our ability to get out of the situation that we're in, and that's a great thing.
Illinois is becoming notorious at times for sort of deficits and deficit spending. And I know Governor Pritzker is trying hard to try to maintain a balanced budget whenever possible, but that doesn't always carry over to various counties or municipalities or things like that. Are there other areas of government that certainly could use some rules adjustment and maybe try to help get ahead, like in the same way you did with pensions, with try to get some compounding interest on this stuff?
Yeah, look, I think it's critically important that anybody in elected office always look at whatever they're in charge of and say, how can we do more with less, right? And I'm not talking about cruel austerity cuts or anything like that. Just, tightening your belt and acknowledging that this isn't our money, it's taxpayer money. And it's taxpayer money because it's a reflection of their hard work. So whenever we can create greater efficiencies, provide better service, and do it at lower taxpayer costs, that's a win-win, and that should be a mindset that each and every one of us has over whatever budgets we're responsible for. So I know that that's how I've lived out my public service is really valuing taxpayer money and making sure that they know that I'm going to treat it as if it was my own, but knowing that it's not my own, it's theirs, but I'm going to try to make it work as best as possible for them. And we should do that in every single budget where there's taxpayer money involved.
You mentioned in your talk last week your moves you've made in previous positions you've had, including efficiencies in the Chicago City Clerk's office, and, of course, your last 10 years as comptroller. You do seem to try to find obvious solutions to sometimes difficult problems. What are some of your favorite achievements over the last decade in the comptroller's office of something that was so painfully simple to solve, it just needed somebody to put their foot down and just enact the change?
Well, let me tell you that nothing about when I ran for controller in 2016 was simple or had an easy fix. It was probably without a doubt, I'm going to say, not probably, it was without a doubt, the toughest job in Illinois government at the time. Anyone thinking about running for controller had to be okay with the prospect of, or the reality, I should say, of facing a $17 billion backlog of unpaid bills, a vendor payment cycle delay of 210 business days, that's 9.5 months before vendors were being paid, a rainy day fund to help me pay down that $17 billion of $48,000. That's not enough to cover 30 seconds worth of government operations, and 20 years worth of nothing but credit downgrades, facing, of course, as I told you with those facts, the worst fiscal condition in our state's history. So it was definitely not a job for the faint of heart, and people would tell me back then that I either must be insane or have a serious fireman's complex, because, as you know, firemen, when they see a blazing fire, instead of running away, they run towards it. And that's every job I've ever taken. I've done it when it's hardest because I love fixing problems. I love sinking my teeth into, impossible challenges. And I don't think anything's ever impossible. You just need good leadership and commitment and dedication, right? So that's why I signed up to be controller, not because it was easy and required leadership, but because it was going to be the hardest job I'd ever, had in my lifetime at that point. So I'm very proud. When you asked me about my achievements, things I'm incredibly proud of was having to pay down that $17 billion backlog of unpaid bills almost 4 years ago now, before getting a penny of federal stimulus in the door. We were already paying our bills on time, down from 210 business days to 7 days today. That's incredibly fast, faster than the private sector. So that we can let businesses and not-for-profits and anyone doing business with our state know that we value their business, that our state is open for business. And also, helping really be a champion for putting more money towards our savings and paying down pensions. It's why we've gone from $48,000 in our state rainy day fund to $2.3 billion today, a record high, and growing. And it's also why we've gone from nothing to 20 years worth of credit downgrades before you elected me your controller to now 9 credit upgrades on my watch. So for those people who said that if you are a smart investor, you should invest in U-Haul and leave Illinois, I would say to them, we did it, and don't ever bet against Illinois.
Illinois Comptroller Susana Mendoza, you've talked about how great your team has been for the last decade, helping you work through all of these issues. Who are some people in state or national politics in the last decade that have been a great friend to the Comptroller office?
Well, let me say, first of all, that my staff, right? The people that work for me in the Comptroller's office are truly the most dedicated, just great people I've ever had the blessing and the gift to work with. Especially, let me give a shout out to Kevin Shobin, who's been at my side from the day I walked in, who had been working for the Comptroller's office, I think 9 or 10 years under a different controller, had left the Comptroller's office but came back to help me during the darkest days of the pandemic with his institutional knowledge. And he's 6 foot something, but biggest guy, but wears his heart on his sleeve and cares so much about people. And I couldn't have done the job that I did without him at my side and the people that he knew and getting everyone to buy into my vision and my mission, right, which was to turn it around and to make people feel like they're valued by their elected official that they voted for. And for those who didn't vote for me, I wanted to prove to them that I still cared about them just as much as everybody who did support me, and that hopefully I can earn their trust someday. So, look, so many people, but I do want to signal out before anyone else, and I've worked with everyone, right? Like all kinds of elected officials, I'd hate to call one out over the other. Really, the most important people that I have to thank is my staff. They're incredible. They're the unsung heroes. I know I get a lot of the credit because I'm the face of the office, and I do feel like I have set a tone and a vision and helped lead, but I have led the greatest staff anyone could ever wish to have. And so a big, big thank you from the bottom of my heart to the people of Illinois, but also to the team, the staff that I have in the Comptroller's office who love them and is fully dedicated. And I know that even when I'm gone in 27, they will do their best to make sure that this office, the Office of Comptroller, continues to be the shining beacon of state government operations in Illinois. Thank you, guys. I love you.
And now, as we wrap things up, here is the big question. You obviously have a lot of gas left in the tank, a lot of fight left in that dog. You certainly don't want to give up on the people of Illinois. So the question is, where are your political sights set after this? And I have a suggestion right off the bat. In our community here in Rochelle, our longtime finance director is retiring. It's a position I think you'd be qualified for. I know it's not that too high in the pay scale, but certainly I think you'd be qualified for it. And I know the mayor, I might be able to get you in if you're looking for a gig.
Oh, my goodness. That is, so nice of you. I appreciate the extroverted confidence for that part of the state. But let me just tell you that I'm going to take some time. I've been a supportive family, most supportive spouse and son. He's 12 now, little David, who's obviously the light of my life. And they're my biggest fans. And we're taking some time to really, think, what's that next big challenge? Because, as you said, I do have a lot of gas left in the tank. I'm 53, but, still, got the energy level of a 20-year-old, right? So my mind is sharp, and my heart is big and wanting to do more. And so I want to be challenged. What's that next big challenge? We'll figure it out over the next, few months or year. And then when I'm ready to step into that role where I know that I can have the maximum impact and I know that that's what I have to do, then I'll be all in 100% and knowing that I would be the best person for that. So looking for that next biggest challenge, and I'll let you know once I figure that out.
Well, if you need a reference on a job application, you can go ahead and put me down. I will certainly I will sing some praises for you there. But I'm not going to lie, just to let you know. So I'm always honest when I get called as a reference. Comptroller Susana Mendoza, closing out on your own terms from that position. And I guess really you haven't really decided where you're going to be going to next. What do you wish for the person who has to take over that desk and take over that pen for the state of Illinois?
Well, number one, that's a great question. Number two, I would say that the most important thing, in my opinion, is that they are qualified and understand how I've run this office with the taxpayer front and center, right? What's best for the taxpayer, really honoring the hard work of every tax dollar that gets sent to us, trying to figure out how to stretch the value of it. I joke around that I call myself the coupon controller because I'm always trying to get more out of every dollar, just like people who work hard, they expect us to do that for them. So, understand that your job is to be an independent, truth-telling fiscal watchdog. And then also recognize that you represent the entire state of Illinois, not just one or two or the 5 top counties from a voting perspective, but the entire state of Illinois with every single political party represented in it and every single kind of person represented in it who expects the best from the people who they send to work on their behalf. So this is a huge state. I love the entire state of Illinois. You know, I may be a Chicago neighborhoods girl, but certainly have a massive soft spot in my heart for places like Southern Illinois. But every one of the 102 counties is special, and the next controller needs to operate that office knowing that that is the biggest gift they can walk into, is 102 counties worth of people who are Illinoisans and who are expecting their best.
Illinois Comptroller Susana Mendoza, at least for a little while longer. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to this week's In the Know. The program returns next week at this time with another great conversation with someone from your community.